When I was 17, I was definitely way beyond my years. There was a party right after the VMAs. It was Diddy's famous party.
The Kardashians are a mess. Khloe Kardashian confirms one of the family's dirty secrets.
And we're like, just this guy won't call me back. She's like, well, did you give him a BJ?
It all makes sense that Kris Jenner has been pimping out her own children for years.
I did learn my work ethic from my dad, but I learned so much more from my mom than I ever give her credit for.
Kourtney is pissed off right now over rumors about her kids.
I just feel like every day it's like they just like pick on me. I just can't do it anymore.
No, she's not worried about Alabama Barker's mental health, but she does want to make it clear that her son is not a father. Kanye West is picking sides, and it looks like he's decided to choose evil. While a couple left traumatized after being stuck next to a corpse on hours during a nightmare flight.
And they did everything they could, but unfortunately the lady couldn't be saved.
Let's get into it. Let's get into Khloe Kardashian. Now, we've been saying this for years that Kris has been pimping out her daughters, but now we're getting confirmation from Khloe saying that her mom chastised her for not giving a BJ, for giving some head to a man. I mean, really, think about it for a second. If your parent gave you a hard time because you didn't go and suck someone's wee-wee. Khloe says that her mom had some advice for her dating game, and it's that if you want to get ahead in a relationship, you've got to give a little. Kris Jenner left her mortified, explaining that once she brought some friends over and they talked about why a guy she was seeing wasn't getting back to her. Khloe says that Kris asked her, how many dates have you been on with this guy? And he was an LA basketball player that Khloe does not name. After telling her mom one or two, Kris offered some advice saying, well, did you give him a blowjob? When Khloe basically said she didn't, Kris explained that the reason he ghosted her was for that. Khloe admits that she was totally shocked and a bit embarrassed. Her mom said all of this in front of her pals. I mean, I would be too, but you know, she does have Kris Jenner for a mother. Let's be honest, we've all made excuses to avoid booking a doctor's appointment. It'll heal on its own, or I don't know which doctor to go to. But with ZocDoc, there's no reason to wait. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search for high-quality in-network doctors and instantly book an appointment. So stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Sloan to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Sloan. ZocDoc.com/Sloan. Let's be honest, cooking healthy meals every day, it's not happening. That's why I love Factor. They deliver fresh, chef-made meals straight to your door, prepped, portioned, and ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, no chopping, just real dietitian-approved food that fits your goals. With over 40 weekly options like Keto, Protein Plus, and Calorie Smart, eating right is actually easy. I love how Factor keeps it simple. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Chatting, and she's like, what are you guys talking about, girls? And we're like, just this guy won't call me back. She's like, well, how many dates did you go on? I'm like, well, just like one or two.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, did you give him a BJ? And I
We
go,
were like, what?
And she goes, did you give him a BJ? I go, I went on like one or
date.
two dates with him. No. And she goes, well, that's why he's not calling you back. And
Best
she
story ever.
just turned around, and I'm like,
Went back to her office.
This isn't the first bit of freaky advice that Kris has offered, because it's been revealed in an episode earlier this month that Kris Jenner encouraged her to take naked pictures for the guys that she's interested in. That is so freaky to me, because like having your photos out there, I mean, at this point, does it really matter if you're a Kardashian? But the fact that Kris thinks so recklessly when it comes to her daughter's like safety or their innocence, it just really rubs me the wrong way. I feel like this podcast for Khloe is just a lot of revealing of the family's dark secrets. Let's get into Kourtney Kardashian. Now, you guys may remember that her son, Mason Disick, was in the headlines, and he's like 15 years old, but it came about because there were rumors that he had fathered a 1-year-old child, which means that he would have been active when he was like 13 or 14, which like gives me the ick. But this rumor went around. We had pictures of Piper pop out. I actually talked about it on my main channel, and Kourtney wasn't happy about it. Kourtney is firing back at speculation that she's a grandma, blasting trolls online for spreading a rumor that her 15-year-old son is a teen father. The reality star jumped to Instagram to address the internet speculation that Mason Disick has a kid of his own, saying that she doesn't usually address insane gossip like this. She said, "I rarely address these rumors or conspiracies, but this is about my child, and it feels wrong to let anyone think for a second that these are true. Mason does not have a child. These accounts that pretend to be him are fake. They are not him. My son values his privacy, and I'm asking all the media to please be respectful. He's a kid with feelings and a beautiful life ahead of him. And to all those other people making videos about my kids, who, by the way, are minors, please stop and leave them alone." So she is coming at them, and I'm sorry. Rumors about Mason having a 1-year-old child sparked when someone posted then deleted screen grabs on Reddit from a private Instagram in which they claim belonged to Mason.
Mason Disick is a father. Yes, Mason Disick, Kourtney Kardashian's son. Allegedly, he has a daughter who's 1 year old named Piper. Kris Jenner is having the worst week of her life. And Kourtney is going through it with the whole Alabama bad baby beef, and now Mason Disick's secret is out. So allegedly, Mason Disick was on live because he was bored and he was answering a bunch of questions on Instagram. So here's a few, but just to get into some. Did you have a baby? Yeah, I did. Are you involved in Piper's life? Yeah, I see her sometimes. Who is Piper? A failed protection? The fact that he says she's a failed protection but then shows photos of her, and allegedly the girl that he had Piper with is from his art class. But then it's interesting, they said they didn't kick you own when you had Piper. I'm assuming they meant they didn't kick you out when you had Piper. He says Piper doesn't count. I was forced to do that, so it's not my fault she was created.
You know that moment when you realize you really need to see a doctor, but you keep putting it off? Maybe you tell yourself, I'm too busy, or it will go away on its own. Or maybe you're like me and you've gone down the TikTok rabbit hole and convinced a simple rash means something much worse. We've all been there, but instead of spiraling, just open ZocDoc, because finding and booking the right doctor has never been easier. ZocDoc is a free app and website that lets you search for high quality in-network doctors and instantly book appointments right from your phone or your computer. No more guessing games. You can compare real patient reviews, filter the doctors who take your insurance, and even book same-day visits. And we're talking more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty. So stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Sloan to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Sloan. ZocDoc.com/Sloan. Alright, let's be real. Eating healthy sounds great in theory, but when life gets busy, who has time to cook every meal from scratch? That's where Factor comes in. Factor delivers fresh, chef-made meals straight to your door, already prepped and ready to eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel your body without the hassle. With over 40 meal options every week, it's super easy to stick to your health goals, whether you're into keto, protein plus, or calorie smart. Factor has something for you. And if you're looking to lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks, Factor Keto meals can help, backed by a randomized clinical trial. It's not just about dinner either. Factor has wholesome breakfasts, smoothies, and grab-and-go snacks to keep you feeling your best all day long. I love how Factor keeps it simple. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like this happened in their family because everything is so chaotic, but it's also very public. So I don't know how they would be able to keep it a secret. But, you know, sometimes when it comes to Kardashians, there's where there's smoke, there's fire. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on all the headlines. Let's get into Kanye West. So Kanye has made his stance clear by wearing a swastika shirt in public. The same shirt that he sold on his website and paid a lot of money for a Super Bowl ad for.
So what's up, guys? I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Go to Yeezy.com.
If you thought Kanye West couldn't shock us anymore with his Nazi-loving opinions, think again. He was spotted wearing one of the shirts that he was selling on his site before it was taken down. The rapper was dressed in a shirt while out in LA chatting with a group of guys. He then noticed the camera and made sure that they got the frame of his shirt. It's so awkward because he's so proudly wearing this in public that it just makes me question who is around him. Like, is Bianca like approving of this outfit? I would feel so uncomfortable to be next to this man. It's a disturbing sight. Kanye standing there alone in the shirt, staring at the camera and scanning his surroundings. Like, he's completely oblivious to the weight of what he's doing. He doubled down on his intention behind his actions, tweeting on Friday, "It was always a dream of mine to walk around with the swastika tee on." A dream? Like, who dreams of these things? Like, well, let's define dream here. Which is bizarre because just 2 weeks ago, he tweeted that he had the realization that he's no longer a Nazi. So what happened?
I could say a million things about this man wearing what he's wearing. Going out with it, just standing around waiting to be photographed so that he can then sell these t-shirts, I guess. But honestly, the most shocking thing to me is how normalized this type of behavior has become in the last, let's say, decade or so. 10, 15 years ago, a man like that going out with a shirt like that would have been the biggest news. It would have been something that would be condemned and something that is horrid. Now you have people being like, it's just, it's just his opinion. He's not actively hunting people and hurting people, so it's kind of okay. It's not a big deal.
Let's get into Matthew Perry. Poor Matthew Perry, he got 27 ketamine shots before his death. The poor guy had no idea probably where he was, who he was, or anything at that rate. Matthew Perry's final days were flooded with ketamine, 27 doses in 3 days before his tragic death in October 2023. Matthew Perry, A Hollywood Tragedy is a documentary that was released, and the U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada, who led the investigation, is pointing fingers at the people who supplied him with this drug. According to Mr. Martin, these just weren't medical professionals. They were opportunists who should have known better. Dr. Salvador was one named in the documentary, which has text messages that show that Matthew Perry was addicted and he was a money-making machine for these doctors and these dealers. But he's not alone. Alongside him in this legal hot seat is this drug dealer, Jasveen Singha? Jasveen Singha. But she's also better known as Ketamine Queen, which I think is such a crazy name. Like, can you imagine calling someone the Ketamine Queen? Matthew Perry was open about his struggles with addiction and substance abuse. His autopsy later confirmed that his passing was due to acute effects of ketamine, and he ended up drowning because of it. Ketamine is a scary drug because you don't know who you are, where you are. You're just a little loopy doopy, and it's not great.
I'm a drug addict. I'm a person that if I have a drink, I can't stop. And so it would be following your ideology that I'm choosing to do that. I'm choosing.
That's exactly not my ideology, it is my belief. Yes, you do choose.
I'm in control of the first drink. And so I do all these things to protect myself from not having the first drink.
Sure.
But once I have that drink, the allergy of the body kicks in. This is all documented alcoholism proof. Then I can't stop after that.
Let's get into Billy McFarland. Now, you could not pay me to go to Billy McFarland's Fyre Festival, especially after what he did last time. And this just seems like another money grab from a guy who can lie through his teeth. Fyre Festival creator Billy McFarland is gearing up for his big music comeback, but it looks like he's still playing with fire. Billy was all smiles on TMZ Live Wednesday, casually brushing off the fact that he's asking people to drop thousands of dollars on tickets without even announcing anyone in the lineup. Like, this is what we're working with, which comment below if you're going to Coachella this year. The lineup, in my opinion, I appreciate the lineup, but yeah, this is what you're getting when you purchase a ticket for thousands of dollars. You're going to Mexico. I'm reading this like myself right now, and I just don't even see anything I would like point out for you guys to. I mean, he writes, "I'm sure many people think I'm crazy doing this again, but I feel like I'd be crazy not to do it again after years of reflection and now thoughtful planning. The new team I have is amazing for Fyre too." Well, good luck. Prayers to the people attending Fyre too.
We're going to have artists across electronic, hip hop, pop, and rock. However, it's not just music. We might have a professional skateboarder do a demonstration. We might have an MMA champion teach you techniques in the morning. And
you say we might have, are any of these for sure?
For thousands of dollars, you might have someone come and teach me like what, karate? I don't want that.
Are they booked?
So I think what makes Fyre so cool is that we are selling the experience of Fyre. I want to be one of the first festivals that can sell out with no artists.
But you do have them booked.
We're announcing the artists over the next few months, so I'm not in charge of booking the talent.
Will these be A-list names?
Wait, okay, so you're sitting here promoting this festival, but you have no one to even name drop?
That are involved?
I really hope so, and I expect so from our conversations.
Really concerning that he is so confident talking about this new wave of a festival with no one to back him. I mean, I feel like if he had a reputable, like a Snoop Dogg or someone behind him who you know is going to show up, that would help his case so much more. Keep in mind that Billy literally went to prison for almost 4 years because he threw this first festival, and I don't know why he's risking it again, because of course eyes are on him, and maybe he just really enjoyed prison. Like, he wants to go back and hang out with his pals he made. He insists that there are performers. They'll be announced professionally in due time, but when pressed for just one name or even a hint, his clue was cryptic, saying she's a current DJ who will be leading a whale shark excursion by day and hitting the stage at night. Any guesses? All in all, it's a pretty bizarre interview, and while most would steer clear of something that landed him in a major trouble, Billy says he's grateful for a do-over, which goes down in Mexico in May through June. I won't be there, but comment below if you are. I feel like not even one person will comment they are.
I am so sorry to announce that Fyre Festival 2 tickets just went on pre-sale. There's no official lineup, no official date, and no official location besides the Caribbean Sea. But you can buy your tickets to this festival that you know nothing about, starting at $4.99 all the way up to $7,999. I need you to be so for real right now. And who better than the original Fyre Festival promoter, Billy McFarland, who pled guilty to fraud and was sentenced to 6 years back in 2018 for the original Fyre Festival, to tell you all about Fyre Festival 2.
What's up, guys? This is a big day because as of right now, Fyre Festival 2 tickets are officially on sale. It has been the absolute wildest journey to get here, and it really all started during the 7th-month stint in solitary confinement. I wrote out this 50-page plan of how it would take this overall interest and demand in Fyre, and how it would take my ability to bring people from around the world together to make the impossible happen, but how it would find the best partners in the world to allow me to be me while executing Fyre's vision to the highest level.
These comment reads, if you buy tickets this time, I don't feel bad for a single one of you. Another comment reads, I can't wait for season 2 to come out on Netflix because they made a documentary about the first Fyre Festival. And then this comment reads, I can make my own cheese sandwich. Thank you very much. Because again, at the first festival, that's what they were fed. Cheese on a not even on a sandwich. It was like not even cooked. It was like bread, cheese on a foam plate, not the foam plate. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is what we're working with. I knew I remembered it correctly. Look at that. Not even the tomato looks good. Let's get into Aubrey O'Day and Diddy. Now, Aubrey O'Day was a big part of making the band, which was Diddy's show, and I think there's a lot more to uncover when it comes to that story. She has hinted over time and given us clues, but we haven't heard much from her because I think she's trying to avoid being blacklisted from Hollywood, but at the same time, she can't hold back. This article reads that Aubrey had a few choice words about her former boss Diddy while on the Masked Singer stage, but the disgraced mogul's team was quick to remind her, don't bite the hand that fed you. A source close to Diddy with direct knowledge of the Aubrey O'Day situation tells TMZ it's all thanks to Diddy that she had an incredible opportunity when he cast her on making the band as a member of Danity Kane nearly 20 years ago. So it's crazy. He's telling her to pretty much shut up and remember where you came from.
I just feel truly grateful to just be among so many beautiful people, such wonderful judges. My ex-boss, I'm gonna go there, he calls himself Love. He legally titled himself that, and he uses the love heart to express that everywhere he goes. He's in prison now, and I just want to say to you guys, the love heart is now here.
The source also reminded Aubrey that Diddy is not only detained, but hasn't even gone to trial yet to present his defense. So he's claiming he's, innocent until proven guilty, even though the public has pretty much decided that he's guilty. Of course, Aubrey has not been quiet, though, about Diddy and even spilled her truth in a TMZ documentary that came out last year. I mean, she didn't go into, like, hardcore details, but she gave us an idea. She didn't even like name drop him when she was recently on The Masked Singer last week, but it was pretty clear who she was talking about, especially in her intro when she compared to dealing with a villain in what happened to be her supposed fairy tale. So kind of reminds me of like the Dan Schneider documentaries where they would refer to him as like the creator, or I believe it was what's her name? Jeanette McCurdy's book. Yeah, her book. She called him the creator because she didn't want to name drop him and get herself in more trouble. But Aubrey said that the villain was oppressive, vain, and cruel. And to get ahead, she had to obey him, be submissive and sweet, and stay silent. Aubrey referenced him again in her reveal, calling out how her ex-boss legally changed his middle name to Love a few years back, but she made it a point to make a heart shape with her hands to reclaim the word love right there and then. Wait, is Diddy's like middle name Love? I'm confused. Like, someone comment below. Let's get into Qatar Airways. Now, this story literally keeps me up at night because a couple was forced to sit with a corpse for hours. You can't make this stuff up. Mitchell Ring and Jennifer Collin were on their way, I guess, from Melbourne to Italy, and a woman collapsed in the aisle next to them and died mid-flight. My eyes literally twitching. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack. In an interview, the upset couple said the deceased woman was placed next to them with a blanket over her body, and they were not given an option to change their seats for the remainder of the flight.
A passenger unexpectedly died on board the flight. The body then seated next to an Australian couple for hours. The couple says it happened during their 15-hour Qatar Airways flight from Melbourne to Doha.
Jennifer was encouraged to move by a fellow passenger who offered up a free seat next to her nearby, but Mitchell wasn't that lucky. He was asked to move one seat over into an empty seat. That is so horrific. I mean, how did she just die midair? His trauma deepened when at the end of the flight, passengers were asked to remain seated while medical crews removed an unidentified body. Mitchell said personnel did not attempt to keep the woman covered, exposing her face to him. Oh my God. Like, what? This sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
Well, the staff were there in no time, and I pat them on the back. They did a wonderful job trying to revive her. It was right beside me in the aisle, and they did everything they could, but unfortunately the lady couldn't be saved, which was pretty heartbreaking to watch.
Oh my gosh, prayers to that woman's family and her soul.
Then they went to try and move her. They brought this chair down, which I'd never seen before, but it had just two wheels on the back, and they put her in this chair. And they tried to wheel her up towards business class, but she was quite a large lady, and they couldn't get her through the aisle because her height was at armchair.
Oh, so she was a big lady too. I mean, rest in peace to all of her. But geez, so that's even like more difficult, I guess, like to maneuver. I don't know what he means by big lady. They don't look like they're the smallest people, so if they're calling her big, then.
So they looked a bit frustrated, and then they just looked at me and saw seats were available beside me. My wife was on the other side. We were in a row of four by ourselves, and they just said to me, "Can you move over, please?" And I just said yes, no problem. And then they placed the lady in the chair that I was in.
So clearly they are shaken up over this incident. I mean, I would be, wouldn't you guys? The Airways gave a statement to TMZ saying that their thoughts are with the family of the passenger who passed away on their flight, and they apologize for any distress the incident may have caused. So, sorry, wrong time, wrong place, I guess, is like what they have to say.
I'm not a great flyer at the best of times, but when my husband turned around and said, move, we've got to move, I was really shocked, and I said, are they going to, put her there? And luckily a lady behind me on the other aisle, she said, darling, come here, a lovely English lady. And I sat next to her. But so Mitch was across the aisle then from me for the rest of the flight.
I don't know how you're going to go, Mitch, getting her back on a flight after something like this. But from what we understand, there were empty seats on the plane. Did cabin crew offer to move you?
No, they just asked me to move.
They do claim they've been in direct contact with the family of the deceased and offered passengers directly affected by the uncomfortable situation emotional support and compensation. So they did get a little bit of a payout, but I would rather not have that experience. Ugh. Let's get into Elon Musk. I remember making videos about Nick Cannon and how many children he has, but Elon Musk is now the winner. He's over here just birthing a whole new generation of people because it turns out that he's just had his 14th child. So Siobhan is a business partner that Elon works with, and they already have 3 children together. Siobhan made the post discussed with Elon, and in light of beautiful Arcadia's birthday, we felt it was better to also share directly with the world that they have their son Selden. He's built like a juggernaut with a solid heart of gold. Love him so much, she wrote.
Didn't know that Elon Musk was putting up numbers like this. Elon Musk just welcomed his 14th child into the world. And it got me thinking, where does Elon Musk place on the leaderboard? Because if we were structuring it like this, in 5th place we got Future, 8 children and 8 baby mamas. In 4th place we got Nick Cannon. Now you might be thinking, Nick Cannon should definitely be higher, but you'd be surprised. Nick is currently sitting on the stats of 12 children and 6 baby mothers. If you had to put these in ranked terms, I would say he's a diamond player. This one took me by surprise, but yet it didn't. 12 children, 8 baby mothers from NBA Youngboy, with one of the baby mothers being Floyd Mayweather's daughter. Number 2, I got Elon. With the amount of wealth this guy has, 14 children doesn't even surprise me. I think he's gonna reach for 20 because the legacy needs to be left behind.
Don't you guys find it weird that she's continuing to have kids with her boss? Like, are they doing it like IVF? I'm assuming IVF. I don't know if they have some kind of like emotional relationship. She's just going to have a bunch of this guy's kids, her boss. I know she lives on his compound because we made a deep dive video about him recently. Elon simply replied to the post with a heart, confirming everything. It's interesting because keep in mind, Ashley St. Clair, who is a fan of the channel, shout out Ashley, she gave birth to his son about like 5 or 6 months ago. Ashley claims that Elon wanted to keep the baby news quiet as she alleges Elon has seen the baby boy only 3 times since he was born. Now, if you saw the messages from Ashley St. Clair in the lawsuit that she had filed, Elon is very paranoid right now, which as someone who, I'm a paranoid person too, I get it, but he's also in a crazy position with a lot of people who hate the government right now. So probably not the best idea for Sarah C. Roberts to go and say on TikTok that she wants to go unalive Elon Musk. I mean, the government's clearly going to show up at your door. She had to make a post saying that she regrets trying to make stupid jokes on the internet and she does not condone any violence.
Elon Musk, like, we need to X him, and by X I mean formerly known as assassination. And if someone from FBI is gonna fucking show up, I don't arrest me. You don't have enough people to even investigate me at this point. I haven't filed my taxes in like 8 years, and yet no one's covered me. So I'm gonna fucking say it. Let's assassinate some motherfuckers.
Now, Sarah claims that she thought she was protected under free speech, but free speech isn't going to protect you if you're making like a death threat upon someone. Not only is it so cringe, but it's so violent. Like, you think you're on the right side, but you're the one that's promoting like assassination. She also wants to let the U.S. Attorney Ed Martin know that she was visited by the FBI on Sunday, and she claims to TMZ that a man and woman visited her apartment for 20 minutes without a warrant, who even apologized for inconveniencing her. She's gone pretty viral for making this kind of threat, so people are now going after her, threatening her and her workplace. So I mean, sometimes it's just better to stay silent, especially if your joke involves the assassination of someone who's very powerful. Because Sarah made this video, so many people were paying attention to her, and people started to realize that she had some discrepancies in her own taxes. She claims she's not currently concerned, but now she's being investigated for her taxes and not paying taxes. So it's crazy how she got attention. She wanted attention, just probably not the attention she anticipated. But this is it for this week's episode of Let's Get Into It. What do you guys think of this episode in the comments below? I hope you enjoyed, and leave some comments below. What do you want me to talk about in next week's episode? What do you want me to talk about in general? You could leave me an email at sloanwellknown@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you guys, so reach out to me, and until next week, I'll see you in a new episode soon. Bye, guys.